I know you're frightened. You're terribly frightened by what you've seen. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Your friends are not prepared for this fight. Hawkins will fall.
My friends need me.
You're not ready.
He's not going to stop. Not until he's taken everyone.
Let's do it.
But I have this terrible feeling. It might not work out for us this time.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for Stranger Things 4 Volume 2. I'm Ashley Hobley. Joining me in running up that hill, Dylan Blight.
Hello, happy to be here. Kate Bush, #1 fan.
I think it's pretty crazy, like, since we recorded the last one, that Kate Bush song has gone #1 multiple places around the world.
Apparently Spotify also now has a thing where it'll pick your song that would be used to escape you from Vecna. So.
Cool.
There you go.
If only we're using Spotify still.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought when I read that news.
I do want to, I wonder what music you could put on top. Surely someone's done that account already, replace the music for that scene. With, something random.
I assume, yeah.
Like, Ricky Martin She Bangs. That would be...
It's probably all over TikTok somewhere.
All over. All right. So we finally got around to watching the 7 hours of Stranger Things left to watch. So now we're going to discuss, these last 2 episodes of the season. So please be aware we will be freely discussing anything and everything about the plot, themes, and ending of the series so far. If you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's have a discussion of Stranger Things 4, Volume 2. Created by the Duffer Brothers, directed by the Duffer Brothers, written by the Duffer Brothers, starring Winona Ryder, David Harbour, Finn Wolfhard, Millie Bobby Brown, Gaten Matarazzo, Caleb McLaughlin, Noah Schnapp, Sadie Sink, Natalia Dyer, Charlie Heaton, Joe Keery, Maya Hawke, Priah Ferguson, Brett Gelman, Matthew Modine, Paul Reiser, Joesph Quinn, Jamie Campbell Bowler. No synopsis because, it's just more of the Stranger Things. Dylan, what do you think of Volume 2?
I thought it was a really great finish. I have some sort of issues, here, there, just sort of how things, pacing wise, things just, you have to do a little bit of not thinking about the fact that a bunch of characters were getting choked out for 40 minutes or something like that and didn't die, which is sort of annoying. But otherwise, I think it was pretty damn good. I also deserve ultra props because I'm pretty sure I correctly guessed exactly what was going to happen. Nearly perfectly.
How so?
I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of wouldn't it be season ends and it's Vecna's still alive and Hawkins and the Upside Down fall into one or combine or I was saying something about them combining or whatever. So as the season ends, so I might have to go back and listen to what exactly I said, but I did say something very similar to.
I'll go back, listen, hear the bit where you said something completely different, edited it, included here. Do you think they beat Vecna this season?
I mean, maybe not.
Could they
maybe
stretch it up to season 2?
I'm not against it. So either way, either have the villains that's going to be the main villain for season 5 be interesting.
Do a back to Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, or just let him live. Whatever. As long as there's enough going on. But the problem with letting him live is the show. Each season of Stranger Things always builds to such a point where they have to deal with the villain, or else the show just can't continue because they need
the world breaks.
The world die, yeah. The show always builds to such a crescendo of you need to save the world now sort of moment, which this season still looking like it's going to be building towards. With if he's opening up all these smaller portals and looking to sort of rip the two worlds together. I mean, the crazy finale would be if he actually did that to a degree and like half of Hawkins fell into the Upside Down or some shit, and they had to fix that next season somehow. That'd be a cool. If you want an Empire Strikes Back, oh shit, the bad guys won. There you go.
Yeah.
I am 99% sure I deserve props for like doing a pretty good job. I feel, or at least that's how I'm making it out in my memory. Because I was sitting there watching it happen, going, "Fuck, I'm good." So if I was thinking that and that's nothing at all, like I said, I'm just sitting here by myself saying to myself, "Fuck, you're good, Dylan." Like no one else to hear me. So. Few key moments I'll shout out. The Metallica badass like playing on the roof. That was it was pretty metal as I would have wanted. Eddie's death, which we can come back to some of these things, but just like to highlight sort of stuff for me. Sad, but also also annoys me with the whole introduce a character, make you really like them, kill them one season sort of thing. I also have some problems with the Max thing, but we can get to that as well. But all in all, some really great performances in this last 2 episodes, especially from what the fuck's his name? I had IMDb open so I can remember. Caleb McLaughlin. That one moment where his sister like runs up and was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, the way he sort of just delivers, like, "We need help, call 911," whatever he says. Like there was I think all that was like really, really good performance there. Millie Bobby Brown, of course, great performance. She always does really good. Russia stuff, still shit. Didn't grow on me at all. In fact, I think I got more annoyed with it as the series continued. Yeah, all in all, I think it was a really great final 2 episodes. The runtime, also have if you want to get like that out of the way straight away, I have no issues with the runtime. I think the hour 20, whatever, that episode was fine, but the one everyone's going to talk about is 2 hours 20. Like, was it needed? Was it excessive? Blah, 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 blah. I think if you cut this episode in 2, I don't know where you cut it, and I think even if you did, it kills the pacing and it kills the overall build up and tension and stuff for the idea of the episode. So that's how I felt. So I don't feel like it should have been 2. I think it being 1, I don't feel like they did it solely to have the headline be Stranger Things episodes 2 hours 20. I think they just wrote the script and it was like, "Oh, this is a really long episode. Hey, Netflix, can we, like, is this fine?" And they were like, "Yeah, whatever." So I think that's just, they didn't aim to write long. They just wrote the story, I think. But I'm really keen for the finale. I think it's a great finish. I like the fact there's no after credit scene, because with how the show ends, it's like, what the fuck else do you need to show? Like, that's a Empire Strikes Back, like, what the fuck sort of, great ending to a season. So keen for what's to come, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I'll start on the length thing. I think it's fine. I think what they were trying to do is they didn't want to have the thing where, the penultimate episode is where all the action happens, and like then the final episode feels like it's just setting up the last season. Do you know what I mean?
The final episode was all the action, so yeah.
Yeah, so if you put all the penultimate action inside the last episode instead of making them 2 separate things, then you don't have that problem. And you can.
And also the epilogue's like half an hour.
Yeah. I mean,
so
you could easily just cut that and make it the episode. I mean, in my mind, where you would cut it is where he's strangling him the first time, and it seems like all hope is lost. You just cut it there because they already cut to black. I think for people who don't like binge these, and like who don't binge these episodes, it's a very small percentage of people who do, that would have been very effective. Purely from like a cliffhanger standpoint, but I think it makes sense.
But also 2 hours 20 is like the length of your average Marvel movie these days. So, but people are acting like it's so long. It's like, it's not really. Like,
it's the same as watching 6 episodes of The Office. I mean, heaps of people do that every night. So, I think really enjoyed like how all the stories kind of, well, at least how 2 of the stories came together really well. I think you agree. The Russia kind of felt very tangential and like, we've got to kill this particle monster mind flayer thing because it might help the kids back home.
I like how they didn't actually fly home, because it was, for the second there where I thought they were going to get in a helicopter and fly to America, I was like, you ain't going to make it.
Seems like a bad idea.
Is this Game of Thrones final season? Like, are you literally just going to...
They did get there in 2 days.
Wait.
I enjoyed how they pulled in Will and Mike and their crew across, and the whole 11 and Papa thing, like, finally coming to a close.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, like, her believing, he was a monster, and, like, him dying without her, it was pretty cold just saying goodbye like that, but, he kind of deserved it, because, again, he betrayed her for, like, the umpteenth time this season, but, that whole that was pretty cool, her taking out the helicopter with her psychic powers, massive explosion. That's pretty cool. Then we get them realizing they're all in trouble. No, 11 figured it out before. That's why she wanted to go back, right? And then she's like, "Hey, I can piggyback on the back of this."
Yeah, at first they're trying to go out, and then she looks at that sign. I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know how this. How
yeah, I don't know. It was like
helped.
the Great Canyon or some shit. Fuck if I know. But yeah. So then she's like, "Oh, memories of Max and stuff, and I remember stuff about my mum, and because it was a family. Maybe that's why family.
Okay.
I guess maybe that's the triggering. Yeah, the family. I don't know. That's why. Yeah.
So they're continuing on this trend. We get them going. Argyle finally comes in handy. And
that's why he was introduced this whole season.
This is the whole reason he was introduced for this bit, in which a new franchise of Surfer Boys Pizza was opened in Las Vegas. And they were able to, utilize that pizza kitchen to set up a terrible sensory, like, bath for her. So, yeah. That all came together really well. I really liked Mike's conversation. No, Will's conversation with Mike, like, telling her clearly talking about himself, but making it seem like he's talking about 11. About, in the car. That was powerful stuff, but also you're like, fucking Mike, completely idiot. Doesn't understand any of the context of this. Although it is 1980 something, so, that makes sense.
I saw someone tweet something like, the reason they delayed it so they could get this out of Pride Month.
Wow. Didn't want it to be a hate crime.
Yeah.
That's fair, because, it is pretty brutal, but then you get the moment of Jonathan, like, comforting him over the bathtub, so that was nice. Although the painting thing didn't feel like a good payoff after, setting it up for so long. I thought it would be something cooler.
I think it makes sense.
It makes sense.
It wasn't like, it would be weird if you'd drawn like a naked picture of him or something.
That's true. It could have been just a drawing of them all together or something, but, I guess it makes sense. They're fighting some massive dragon. Meanwhile, in Hawkins, we've got our main group. You're like trying to fight Vector because that's the thing. I think they're playing pretty solid. We'll distract him while he's inside Max's head. We'll murder him because he's defenseless. I enjoyed them stealing the RV because that's a fun. I've never seen anybody steal an RV from people while they're sitting outside their RV.
It was their fault for having that one window open, really.
I mean, yeah. What do you? Also, Eddie like sneaking out, and the only mask she had to cover her face.
It was like, "Do you have a mask?" And she's like, "Yeah." Cuts the scene. He is the only person wearing a mask, which he just takes off as soon as he gets inside. Anyway, and then they see his face.
That's
through the
because
window.
Eddie is a wanted person. That's the joke.
It still looks ridiculous. They would have spotted him.
Michael Myers. They could just thought it was some random kid in a Michael Myers outfit, but yes. They have very tense scenes getting weapons and ammunition from this army supply place, very timely about this seems like it should be illegal, but thank God it's not. Very tense thing with Jason, who, wow, what a creep. yeah, so then, they go set about going into the Upside Down. We also have, of course, have Joyce and what's his name again?
Murray?
Harbour.
Oh, Harbour.
Hopper, they discover that they've kept some demigorgons in tanks and shit. Been experimenting on them. Cutting up while they're alive. That's pretty messed up, the bloody Russians.
Yeah, and a bunch of dust.
Yeah, a bunch of particles. The shadow, as they call it. They manage to escape. Yuri's like fucking with them. Like, what? Not fixing the helicopter. Has one spark plug is the only thing that stopped him. Hopper and Joyce are about to have, a moment together when the phone rings. I don't know, yeah. There's a whole bunch of different things. The whole Russia thing's fine. They kill the demigorgons. It's all good. There's a flamethrower. That was pretty cool. But, And for some reason there was a sword. I don't know where the sword came from.
I think it was from the weapon rack, like when they were in there together.
Ah, that would make sense.
Remember? Yeah.
But nobody was able to cut it before. I guess they burnt him to a crisp, yeah, so. But yeah.
No one can use it like hot, so. No one can put, swords on.
That's the most impressive, sword work I've seen David Harbour do. And I've saw Hellboy, so, there's that, so. Then, they go into the Upside Down. The plan's all going along great. Until it's not. I love their plan is, hey, Dustin and Eddie will attract all the bats. And we get the epic Metallica moment, which is cool. Cool, epic metal moment.
My favourite part about that is that people in the comments of the trailer had already guessed that he was playing Master of Puppets based solely on looking at the strings and what he was playing.
Wow.
And people already guessed it was that song. So props to them. Props to them for actually having the correct, him actually playing it, or at least looking like he was playing it. So.
Oh, that reminds me, at the opening of the episode, they're all freaking out because Nancy is still in their trance from last episode. And they're all scrambling looking for music in his apartment. He's like, this is music.
Yeah, they're like, we're looking for music, Bowie. I can't remember. They're like Bowie, they list Beatles, stuff like that. We look for music again. He just holds up all his records like, this is music.
Probably not a great thing to say in a life or death situation, but yeah. So then, they're all in a position. Max, is all like, hey, fucking come into my mind, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So he does, takes his time. Yeah, they have a massive fight. Or chasing around. They're in the spring. She's remembering the snowball from season 2 or 3. 2?
I think it was 2.
3.
Was it?
No, it was 2. Because that was before Susie.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. Yeah. But there's nobody there. So it's not really, the proper memory. I think, 1, it's COVID, and 2, because it would be very awkward to have all these people or try to recreate that more than they already did. 11 comes in to fight 1, and then she loses. She gets her ass beat in the end. And all hope seems lost. But then, Mike tells 11 that he loves her, and then she's able to save the day.
Power of love.
Power of love. Why wasn't it playing? And then, it seems like, but, Max has already been halfway snapped up before she's able to stop him. Stop one / Henry / Vecna.
Well, I think it's her leg goes first or her arm, and I remember I'm thinking, but that'll be painful when she comes when Elle saves her in a second, but at least she'll be all right.
Was there ever a part of you that was like, they're gonna lose?
No.
A part of you is like, wow, what if they actually do just kill everybody here?
No, I expected or / hoped, I guess, combination of both. I like Vecna to escape. I didn't think he would actually like technically win because he like kicks her ass the first time, and then even though she beats him kinda with help the second time after she escapes, I wouldn't really call that a win. It's just more especially because by the time, like his whole thing is like the beginning of the end is you've already lost because he knows he's killed. He knows he's killed her, Max at that point. So that's why he's saying that. We just don't know that as an audience at the time. So yeah, because like seeing her arm and leg snap, I was like, painful. We'll heal.
Yep.
You know, like I did. But then when she actually comes to after, that's when you like see her eyes are all fucked up and she can't see, and you're like, oh shit, this is worse than
like that whole sequence, like very sad and like scary. You know, one slash Vecna sec Henry gets like Molotov cocktail twice by the crew inside the house with him, as well as several shots to the body. But you know, he disappears, escapes, even though he definitely should be dead. But I guess
he's a superpowered,
he is
weird, supernatural creature.
The other thing we learnt about him is he's been behind everything this whole time.
Yeah, so it was a bait and switch. So the bait and switch is that when he's introduced, even within the show, you have old mate. I can't remember. What's the kid's name? The one who was who was with Eddie.
Chrissy.
Fuck. No, the kid.
Dustin.
Dustin. Yeah, fucking hell. He says like, Vecna's like the foot soldier of the Mind Slayer or whatever, you know, like he's one of his generals or some line like that in the first couple episodes, when it was a bait and switch because the reality is that the Mind Slayer is actually the general of Vecna.
I don't know if that analogy works.
No, but like within their analogy, like
is like a resource that the Mind Flayer is using to that Vecna / Eddie Henry is using.
But the analogy they use in the show is wrong when in reality it's closer to being the other way around.
So one is in control.
One is in control. One has been the head person behind everything, which I really love because I think I was saying on the last discussion, like it would be really good to have a big baddie to come into the next season with, and I would actually like it if Vecna /1 survived this season, so then you could continue. So like I'm happy with everything the way it turned out, personally. Because it means the bad guy is actually someone you can relate to, you can understand it. It's not just
someone you have like
supernatural creature.
You don't have to build up like a bad guy.
Yeah,
as well. So that was cool. Of course, we get Max dying, setting off Vector's massive plan to create a massive gate in Hawkins. We get like they think it's a massive earthquake, but man, there's giant things of lava coming all over the place, killing Jason, you know, who's a bitch, who definitely got what's for from Lucas. You know, he did put up a good fight, but then gets fully eviscerated, burnt.
He got torn in half. Like it was great.
Yeah. It was great. You know? The only disappointing thing from this season is that we didn't get what's her face getting her comeuppance similar. Fucking Vicky. I want to say
Karen. I don't know.
Vicky. Yeah, it's Vicky. Fucking Vicky. She should have gotten some demigorgon like open her face up with teeth. I don't know. But yeah, and then, you know, 11's watching Max on the ground being cradled by Lucas, and she's like, "No, not today. I'm gonna become Rey Skywalker, and like I'm gonna heal you. I'm gonna bring you back from the dead." But then we cut to 2 days later. They go to the hospital. Max is in a coma. 11 goes inside her mind, and there's nothing there. Is Max dead?
So the way I took it is that 11 somehow managed to revive Max's body, So her body is like alive, but her soul or her essence or whatever you want to call it is not there, which means that it's still potentially trapped on the other side is how I'm going to, or something like that. Like, I don't know. Obviously, one plot point for next season is going to be saving Max, and that means finding her soul essence thing.
I think she's dead. She's just a body that 11 has brought back to life. It functions, it pumps blood, it does all the things that a human body does, but there's nothing inside. And I have a feeling, she's either going to be used by 11 in some way, or she's going to be used by... That body is going to be used by Vecna in some way.
So you reckon they'll never bring back Max?
No, Max is dead.
I'm going to say no, because if they were going to keep it dead, I think they would have just kept it dead. I think the fact they put her in a coma...
What? You don't think it's more messed up that, her dead body is being... Or her live, but not her body, is being puppeteered around by...
I mean, she could get puppeteered, but I'm saying by the end of the show/season that Max will be back in her body.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out in 6 years when the next season comes out. But, yeah. And then we're stuck in the aftermath of, the events. Everybody's treating it like it's some natural disaster. Then we get all our reunions. Everybody comes back together. We get, Mike, 11, Will, Jonathan, and Argyle showing up at Mike's parents' place, where they're all donating clothes. They all just get this sweet moment. Nancy and Jonathan have a hug and kiss and don't address any of the problems they've been talking about the entire season. While Robin comforts Steve in not 3 feet away. Yeah. And then we get the big one, Harbour comes in while Evan's crying in a room, pretty much. I think that's the payoff for that whole Russia thing. We got Harbour back, and we get that moment. So, which is kind of the reverse of the moment from last season.
I think the best thing about that scene was straight away she's like, I kept the door 3 inches, and I'm like, oh, she did. I didn't. She doesn't actually slam the door. She just
yeah.
She force shuts it, but not all the way.
Yeah. Then, they notice it's white stuff is dropping outside. We all go outside, and there's a massive mind flayer thing in the sky, and all these leaves and stuff are shit and dead. That's where we leave it. What was your favourite moment from the last 2 episodes?
I don't know, the Metallica bit was pretty dope.
Yeah.
So, maybe that.
That's pretty good. I think. 11 just kicking his ass, finally defeating him, or thinking she defeated him. That was pretty cool. Or her blowing up the helicopter. That was pretty cool. You want to touch on Eddie's death more, or do you feel like you?
It's sad. I think the sadder part was actually
Dustin's reaction.
No, not his reaction.
Dustin talking to his uncle.
Uncle, yeah, I think that scene was very emotional. So that was, but yeah, I was just it's kind of just annoying that Eddie.
You come to love this character over one season.
And they're and then they're like, oh, we have to actually kill someone. We won't commit to Max, so we'll kill off Eddie.
They did commit to Max.
No.
It's the same as we all fell in love with Alexei, and then he gets shot out of nowhere. So there's no winning anywhere. Yeah. What are any other key points?
I was gonna say that's my major criticism. Annoyance. My major criticism is just the fact that the finale, with the way it's put together, it does seem like they're getting choked out for 40 minutes. And you could say, but Dylan, they're just doing a thing where they show their scene, and then the next scene is actually 10 minutes prior to that, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the timing.
But they fucked themselves, because they literally have a scene where Vecna's explaining how he can see everything, and how his friend, it's he's explaining he's sees everything that's going on, and he's choking them out, and they do it it's real time. They put it into a real time perspective,
I guess, but technically they're inside Max's mind, so it could be taking place in hundredths of a second.
I know, but still, it's just like they were getting choked out for so long. Like,
That's true. Yeah. Any other points you wanted to hit on?
no, I'm just going to be really interested. So, like, they've already said, Duffer Brothers have already said there's going to be a time jump for next season. So, I
think that's interesting, right? Like,
yeah,
I guess.
Well, no, when they announced it made sense, but now that we've seen the finale and how it ends, you're like, all right, so they're just living. We're going to jump ahead and they're just
deal with
living.
this for like preparing for like months until something happens.
Well, I reckon it's going to be a year.
Well, I mean, when they say time jump, like I don't know exactly what they mean by time jump.
I think the time jump is because the kids are way too old for the characters, so they have to do a decent time.
So
jump.
what you're saying is they'll have to like, because they're still going to be a year older when they start filming. So I mean,
yeah, but they'll look more age appropriate. Like the thing is that the kids are all adults, right? They're all like over 18 now, or nearly 18, or whatever.
Yeah.
By the time they're doing the next season, they're definitely all going to be over 18 or 18 or 20s or something like that. And by that, I mean the younger characters, the older ones, like they're already going to be like mid 20s, whatever. So even if they bring them up to closer, like 16-ish, 17, like at least it'll be like, it's just they're like so far off now because of the.
Yeah. It was especially odd in like the hospital. Like you're all adults. And there's no adults in this room except you. So what do you expect from season 5? Is it
so I'm gonna say
how are they gonna end this?
I have no idea how they're gonna end it, but so skip ahead a year or so. I think that either monsters are slowly starting to creep in or they're not. I don't know. I'm not against them saying nothing happens for ages and there's just like weird
because
shit
obviously
like,
Vector's like pretty messed up.
He's pretty messed up, yeah. So he needs to like recover, which it took him like 7 years last time to reach this full potential or whatever. So I think they have a very good like basis to explain how he doesn't go straight for the kill and has to hide away, which also means if he's not ready, then he's not sending demigorgons through or anything like that. So I think they've got a good out for how nothing's happening for so long. Even then, you could skip ahead a year or so and say every now and then one demigorgon's shown up and they've had to deal with it. You know, like a slow thing, but like they're like Vecna hasn't made his big move yet or something. So then obviously when the season starts, they're going to introduce the world that they've been living in, like how they've dealt with it, like what's happening.
I assume they have to,
school?
like, everybody's going to be kicked out of Hawkins, I assume.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. Because the way they end the show, it's like, well, they're all going to be in hiding, or at least Ellie is up in the cabin. So
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, obviously, it's going to be. I think that the lines, character stuff, I can think of off the top of my head that's going to make the most sense is Elle's going to want to find Max somewhere. She's going to try and want to find her soul or whatever to bring it back to her body. I know you're shaking your head. And now I think the other good storyline to do would be Dustin fighting back against the people who still are saying bad shit about the Hellfire Club or Eddie, I guess in particular. And like fighting her back, like he's got a really good like sort of story set there. And then yeah, I don't really know if anyone. You've got the romance, the triangle there, I guess, to solve. You've got the finally new introduced romance for Robin at the end, so you could have her
nice at the end, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
They're exactly the same person, but you know. That always works out. But
because the way I took it, I was like, she's bi, she's not straight, is how I that's how I read that. So you'll play it. So you've got her partner, girlfriend. I want her to hang around because she seems like it'll be good, and Robin actually getting him something will be good.
Vicky was that girl that is with Robin. So
okay, yeah. So not the one you thought.
No,
fucking who cares? It's Karen.
I care because you know.
Because she sucks.
So
I reckon that then you have to solve the romance with the other two with what's her name? Why can't I never remember anyone's name? Nancy. So you have to figure out, like, she has to figure out what's going on there. Like, these are just general character beats, I think, obviously aren't wrapped up. Then the major thing I think they have to solve when they comes to Vecna, it's actually explaining and the major theme, I guess, of the final season is not only finally killing Vecna and saving the day and, you know, wrapping up the show, is finally explaining what exactly the Upside Down is, because the key thing they introduced in this season is the fact that when Vecna/1 enters the Upside Down, it's this giant mountainous landscape where you see demigorgons like climbing up it, and he sees this giant smoke creature thing that he forms and helps grow and whatever. But we've always seen Upside Down as a form of Hawkins, and in this season also discovered that Hawkins, at least in Upside Down, is trapped in 1983 or whatever particular year it was. So like why is it a mountainous form? Yeah, why is it mountainous? Did one turn it into Hawkins? Did it turn into Hawkins? Like, you know, so I feel like there's still a lot of the Upside Down left to explain before all things are said and done.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of interesting ideas behind the Upside Down. Like, what is it? Why is a Hawkins in there? You know, how did one, like, how exactly did he become powerful? I don't think that's super important. But yeah, what is his ultimate goal? Is it just to merge the two to create unbridled chaos?
Well, it's to kill everyone and then start again, which, like, if he was to say he crafted the Upside Down, which was this mountainous landscape, into Hawkins, because that's what he was practicing and getting ready for his big plan, that would make sense, I guess. But yeah, like, his plan is, as he says,
is it
like,
some sort of incursion where, you know, the two worlds cannot coexist, so one must be destroyed?
I mean, there's also possibly many Upside Downs, like alternate realities. So
potentially, this could just be one of ones that Eleven accidentally came across or whatever. So, do we think Papa, or Matthew Modine's character, was looking for one this entire time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's as straightforward as that. He escaped. He was powerful. He wanted him back.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense from everything we know of him. But, you know, I thought it was a bit of a stretch. But
no, it made sense to me, because, like, we never really had an explanation what he was like. Elle was just searching for shit. But there was really no solid explanation ever given in the show, other than he made her explore for something. So if the background story is that he was secretly looking for him, then yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we expect? Do you think we're going to get a happy ending? Like, all the kids are going to survive. Everything's going to close. Max is going to come back. Everybody's going to live happily ever after. Is that the ending we're going to get to Stranger Things?
I think someone at least dies of substance. I don't think it's going to be Max, just because I think that's a stupid bait and switch, and they should just killed her here if they.
She's already dead.
No, so I think Max comes back and someone else dies. I'm going to say that. What's Nancy's current boyfriend's name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan dies.
Okay.
At least Jonathan dies. But otherwise, it's going to be a happy ending, yeah. Because it'd be weird to end the show without a happy ending on the final season.
I guess, and especially when it's inspired by so many of those movies of that era, which, you know, all these terrible things happen, but, you know, they all succeed in the end, so.
Yeah, I think there has to be a happy ending.
Doesn't have to be, but
I think you could have a happy ending, wrap up the show, and then do spin-offs. There you
go. What spin-off do you want?
I don't want any. I'm just saying that that's probably where they'll go.
Just Steve and Robin adventuring across America in an RV with Vicky and Nancy. I don't know. It's a Scooby-Doo prelude. All right. Anything else you feel like we need to discuss about this last two episodes? How do you feel about, like, special effects wise and, like?
Most of it looked good. One falling off that roof looked bad. Looked really.
It's pretty difficult. He was a messed up, like, dude on fire.
Yeah, but like physical wise, it was one of those things where my mind was like, that doesn't look right at all. Otherwise, special effects was really good, and I think there was, like, so much special effects in that last episode, like spending that much time in the Upside Down and 2.5 hours nearly, just heavy stuff. I think all in all, really happy with one though. I know I've said it probably in the previous thing as well, but just having that combination of special effects with a live action actor and suit and prosthetics and all that sort of stuff. So they had a video on Twitter up between the seasons too, where they showed like how long that makeup took and prosthetics and stuff, and yeah, so it was good.
Yeah, pretty freaky how long it took. So yeah. All right, let us know what you thought of Stranger Things 4 Volume 2 by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to our Discord at explosion.com/Twitter. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, or tell people about the show, or leave us 5 stars. Anywhere you can leave 5 stars. And if you like this episode, thoughts worth it all, head on over to our Ko page at explosion.com/support. Dylan, when do you think we're going to get season 5?
I'm going to say next year, late next year. I think they're going to get straight into it. Because again, the longer they wait, the longer the kids take. And COVID's a bit better. Everyone's back to filming everything, I think, in America and shit now, aren't they? So
I reckon we get it till 2024.
hot Easter egg, by the way. I just remembered. I forgot to mention. The book that they're reading at the end, Stephen King one, that's the one the Duffer brothers have announced last year that they were adapting.
Which one's that?
The Talisman, Stephen King.
Yeah.
They announced, I think it was last year, they announced they were adapting.
Isn't it a bit weird to be reading a horror book to,
Yeah.
you know, someone who's been through horrific experience? I guess it's pretty, it's fun, light entertainment, I guess, in comparison. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
Now I just want you to watch. Your friends have lost.